It's day 25. And last night on my other channel, my main channel, my workhorse, YouTube paid me $349.56, which honestly, I gotta say, guys, is a little bit disappointing. It really kind of is, but we're gonna get that number up higher. But it's also parts of a whole. And yeah, I know I said that I should probably consolidate all of these numbers into one to create a much clearer picture of what the actual revenue looks like in comparison. But for argument's sake, my wife was paid $926.51, completely blowing my ass out of the water. So I think it's okay. I think it's quite all right. And that's just on one channel. And we've got 4 channels monetized right now. So if you add up all the numbers, yesterday was probably close to a $2,000 AdSense day. And that doesn't include sponsors. That doesn't include all the extras and part of the 7 streams of income video that I did the other day. But be that as it may, that's where we begin today on this video. And I saw a course today. I saw a course available online for like YouTube coaching, and it was $497. And I must admit, folks, I was completely blown away by it. And not only that, I was really shocked to see that before that, or in addition to, leading up to finding said course, that the offering was hidden behind a broken link to the creator's website, which I think is extremely huge. It's a missed opportunity. It's risky it being the number one link that you're sharing with folks that may not necessarily check the secondary and other links to follow. But, as far as me building a course and trying to coach people on the things to do to make money, or at least grow your channel, build your business online, I'd probably make sure that all my I's were dotted and T's were crossed, if you know what I mean. And then I scrolled through the course outline, and there's 11 modules plus a bonus, or bonuses, additional tutorials and reference videos. And I'm gonna tell you guys, I did a video the other day, and I think there was a name, Justin Welsh. There was a name, Justin Welsh, that essentially was a search term for this video that I made. And I wasn't familiar with Justin Welsh. So I did a little bit of research. I was curious, who's Justin Welsh and why is his name being associated with a keyword for a video that I created? And he has built a massive empire off of the solopreneur. Something just fell out of the tree back there. The solopreneur. It says, "Hi, I'm Justin Welsh. I help internet solopreneurs own their work and life." And this is huge. This is important. This is, I would think, what you want, right? Or what some people want. And I looked for him on YouTube, and I didn't find much from him, but I did find some from others. One of which being a video of someone who bought his course and was kind of reviewing it. And it really opened my eyes, because it was about $100 course, maybe more, maybe less. But at the end of the day, the course was pretty much just an email. And it was a list of the apps and websites that he uses on a regular basis to help run his businesses. And it's like, well, for $100, that could be extremely valuable. And I honestly believe that he probably advertised it as such and presented it as such. But I'm just thinking, like, man, it's really no secret, There's really no secret, but the idea that people will pay more than $100 to get the same information, for instance, $497, ouch, to be told the same thing that someone else has already told you, that literally you can find out from YouTube University, which, if you don't know, YouTube University is literally just watching YouTube videos connecting the dots, piecing your own course together, and then going out and making your own money. So, I said, you know what? I'm just going to tell you guys for free. I'm just going to tell you guys for free. And then I'll explain why I'm telling you for free. Okay. Telling anybody for free. And it's funny because if you think about it from like a competition perspective, the bar is set really low, because I've even offered to show people literally start to finish how I do what I do, make the money that I make. And I've got no takers. Got no takers. And I think it comes down to pure, unapologetic laziness. Saw a clip the other day on TikTok, and a young lady says, "You're not going to manifest wealth. You're just wishing at that point. You're not going to manifest wealth. That's not how this works." And so I don't doubt that I could literally show you everything. I could show anybody everything for the most part, and no one's going to do the work. No one's going to take action. So for me to sit here and tell you the truth behind it all for free, I'm not worried about increasing my competition, because the drive's just not there. Let alone, as I've said before, there's more to it than just knowing everything I do. You then have to know how you are going to do it. You have to know how you are going to manage it. You have to know how you are going to be treated by the audience and the algorithm and every other variable and unknown that's out there that you don't even know about yet. So there's that. So as I'm running through these modules here, setting the stage for your YouTube success, finding your niche and audience, building your brand, optimizing your brand, mastering content ideation, scripting and structure, filming and editing, packaging your videos for consumption, growth strategies. There's only 2 modules left. What could they be? Well, it takes 10 modules or 9 to get to the 10th module, which is monetization and income streams. Lastly, module 11 is sustaining long-term success. And I honestly think that these are entirely backwards. I think module 1 should be monetization and income streams, and module 2 should be sustaining long-term success, because I'm going to tell you guys right now, getting monetized on YouTube is a terrible thing. It is awful. If you work so hard to get 1,000 subscribers or more and 4,000 watch hours or more, then have the option and ability to apply to YouTube monetization or YouTube partner program to become monetized and get accepted. A lot of people don't know you have to apply after that. They may not accept you. And when they don't, you have to wait to apply again. Not only do you have to wait, but you'll have to make changes. And odds are you're going to have to make some tremendous changes to your channel and your content to be approved, which means that you're going to have to completely redo your channel and content, which ultimately got you to the level of which of being able to be eligible to apply. That is a real kick to the nuts, folks. Okay. So what I do is I make sure that's never a problem. I make sure that you're always approved. Easy. Okay. Do that, number 1. But number 2 is sustaining long-term success, because once you get approved and accepted into the program and you struggled your way to get monetized, well, now you'll begin to see how much money you don't make, because you're not getting a lot of views. And then if by chance you are and making good money, and I'm talking about at least $50 to $100 a day to start, if that's the case, and then things change and you begin to make less money, you're going to need to know how to sustain long-term success while being hit with failures or perceived failures day after day after day. And if you've been following me along for 24 days or more on this channel, then you know that there's a fluctuation in the income and revenue from an AdSense perspective. But there's also a fluctuation and change from my own personal perspective and how I'm going to attack it moving forward. The key here is moving away from AdSense. That's number one. Getting monetized on YouTube should be the last thing you want to do, really, which is why the first thing you should want to do is figure out monetization and income streams, because YouTube, if you're going to go at it from that perspective, should be a revenue producing, income producing, profit producing business. Well, you're not going to start a business that's not going to make any money, right? So you would need to know how that business is going to make money before you get involved at all, right? So for it to be module number 10, waste of fucking time. I want to know how I'm getting paid before I do the work. Who doesn't? Who doesn't? And if you say that you don't care about how you're getting paid or how much you're getting paid before you do the work, you're lying. And if you're not lying to me, you're lying to yourself. So either way, there's that. And a little secret for you guys. Some of the biggest, best, most profitable businesses out there and people, for instance, are very, very boring businesses. Very, very boring. Just throwing that out there. You don't need flash. You don't need pizzazz. You don't need razzle dazzle, glitz, glamour, jump cuts, edits, and all that other shit. Sometimes it's just simple. Sometimes it's just easy. Sometimes it's just basic. And it brings in a lot of money. Look up the guy who sells toilet and paper products, who sells paper products. Look him up on YouTube. There's nothing glamorous and special about it, but it brings in a shitload of money. Okay. We're going to get to that here in just a moment. Going back to not wanting to be monetized, or at least not being a focus. So monetization, I guess, has gotten a bad reputation because monetization is tied to YouTube and YouTube AdSense. But monetization should really just be, how do I turn a video into money? And that can be in a variety of ways outside of YouTube or Google paying you. That's what monetization should be. How do I convert this to money? And therefore, as we discussed yesterday, views are not really that important from an AdSense perspective. However, we would prefer to think of the daily payout as a bonus, because I've already shown you how to make $10,000 a month. I've already shown you how many views you need to get $10,000 a month. And I've also shown you how many views you don't need to make $12,000 a month. That was yesterday's video. If you haven't seen it, you might want to go watch it. So making money outside of YouTube is the way to build wealth. It's the way to build passive income streams. It's the way to create an exit strategy, as I've mentioned to you guys before. And I got to tell you guys, it's an easy way to do it. And I think that I'd be willing to bet that a lot of folks don't know because they've never been placed in this situation. Fortunately, I have. Fortunately, I've lived this life. I still live this life. And I was able to identify it and also share it with you. And I've said this for years. And specifically, at the turn of COVID and the ebb and flow and wild swings of the economy and the housing market and car prices and interest rates and jobs and income and cost of living and everything. B2B, folks. B2B. For those of you who don't know, B2B is business to business. What we are somewhat used to is maybe like B2C, which is business to consumer. And if you are trying to sell a product, a course, a service, an experience, a membership, anything to viewers on YouTube, then you are B2C. You're business to consumer. Whereas I personally prefer B2B, which doesn't mean I'm trying to sell to businesses on YouTube. I'm actually trying to sell to businesses off of YouTube that want an opportunity to get in front of my YouTube audiences. And so businesses are great for a variety of reasons, mainly because they have way more money and they have budget. I had that call today that I was telling you guys about that opportunity where someone says, hey, would you like to make another $50,000 a month? And it went really well. I'm super excited about it. And this was the first of many calls. This call was a success. Now we move on to the application process to see if I get approved to be in it. Because why? Because I've built up an audience, because I've built up a subscriber base, because I've built a reputation on another channel that this business is saying, we'd like to be a part of that and get in front of those people. Dunzo. So I'll apply. I'll have another round of Zoom calls, and if approved, then we hit the ground running. And at that point, then the sky is the limit. And it's going to be quite interesting where things go from there. But I can promise you, I will assure you that I will share with you every step of the way. And so these are notes that I actually wrote down today before the call. And I'll read it to you as is. Do I want clients and ultimately students? No, I don't. There's an old saying, those who can't do, teach. And I want to do the thing and make the money where people wonder outside looking in. Granted, they won't know I have this channel. How does he do it? You know, it's the quiet wealth. It's the business that no one knows even exists. That's hidden here in my devices, that pays me whether I'm working or not, because I've set it up in such a way, or that people are just wondering, how does this work? How are you always available? How do you live in this house? How do you travel? How do you do this? That's what I want. You know, I don't want people to say, oh, you know, I see you work here, or I see your uniform, or, you know, you've mentioned this or that. No, I don't care. I don't care. I prefer not. And those who do know, it's somewhat of a unique circle that is built on a common interest, number one, then a personal connection and a vibe, number two, and then a shared interest of mutual success. And it just works. It just works. It just works. And also being honest. As this opportunity, as I was reminded today, I honestly turned down and declined for the last 2.5 years. Because it wasn't right. It wasn't the right one. It wasn't the right time. And here we are. And now I'm excited about it. This is funny how that works. With that being said, there's no need for me to run out there and try to convince people I know what I'm doing. I don't need to. Granted, this channel is for me. I'm thrilled that you guys are here, but I'm not here to convince you or prove to you anything besides the fact that, as I've said before, if I can do it, you can do it. And so I just need to do it. Like, that's it. You know, at any point in time where, you know, I may veer off and say, you know what, I'll tell you the honest truth. When the algorithm shifts and when the algorithm changes, and I kind of get tired of playing that game, which again, I'm working on an exit strategy to not worry about the algorithm at all. I say, well, I could easily show people how to do this, which means I don't have to deal with the emotional swings of dealing with the algorithm, and I can help other people do it, navigate it, fight through it, and still make my money, if not more. But honestly, it's just easier for me to just do it. It's just easier because it's hard to convince people and motivate people to do things that maybe they already think they can't do. Despite the fact that I have multiple times shown them that they can and are capable, and each and every single time they quit. They get monetized, they get the check, they get the money, they see how it works. I show them my analytics, and then they quit. And then the crazy part about it is after they quit, they refuse to sell the channel. I said, look, I'm sure I could find somebody to buy this channel that you've done this work for, get a few grand out of it. And they don't even want to sell it. They don't want to accept the defeat, but they're also not willing to do the work that they already know works and has been proven to pay them. Mind blown. And so I was watching the David Boland. He put up another video today, and he mentioned solving, or at least communicating with my audience and understanding their problems. And so I'm thinking, well, what's my audience's problem? It's a loaded question, but I do know, granted, I don't necessarily know my audience's problem, but I do know who my ideal clients are. And they're not necessarily people watching my videos. They are the businesses that I want to do business with off the platform. And so, again, I said this years ago, B2B, businesses support businesses. Businesses make deals. Businesses write contracts. Businesses need customers, an audience, and that's what I attract. That's just what I attract. That's what I attract. That's what I go out and seek. That's what networking and random conversations. If I'm ever anywhere out, I'm at a bar. And I'm talking to people, meeting people, getting numbers, exchanging information, and maybe talking to them again, maybe never, ever. Who knows? I tell myself, be a writer, use my voice, make the money, and most importantly, make what you want and make what's easy so you can enjoy life.